Hello, today we're doing another 1 hour animation challenge hosted by the 1 Hour Anim account on twitter.com. Of course, you can follow along by visiting them on Twitter. This week's prompt is adrenaline, or I should say last week's prompt. This is from August 12th. But yeah, let's get into it. I'll start off with a warm-up sketch. For today's self-portrait, I'm drawing myself as an astronaut. I just wanted to do like a portrait. I asked ChatGPT for some prompts to make some interesting portraits, and he suggested that I do this. Whatever, I don't know. By the way, in this video, you'll see like I'm having issues in the top right with this timer. It's not acting the way it did yesterday, where it was working perfectly. I had the segment set up and I think it just worked nicely. I got like a little confused in how the timing actually was like being recorded, but it was at least, I think, functioning properly. Today, like I just couldn't get it to work the way I wanted to, so the time isn't exactly accurate, and I honestly, I don't really care. I wasn't gonna restart just to figure out the timer. I just wanted to animate, and the technical stuff was just gonna get in the way. So I think I do go over time for sure, and I'm just not gonna worry about that. You know, who cares? I wasn't gonna restart. If I restarted, I probably would have gotten less motivated, and I just wanted to get to it. Especially because I was working off of the same prompt. I wasn't gonna do a new prompt, and I couldn't think of anything anyways, so I might as well just continue. That being said, like I stared at that screen for a while. I think I cut it. But yeah, I did not know what to do, but the premise I went with is apparently when like you get in like serious, dangerous, or like heightening situations, you can become extremely strong or heightened senses, whatever. That I don't know I don't know if that's actually true, but I use the concept here for like a mother and her child is in danger and she has one of those adrenaline fueled moments where she's hyper strong to save her baby. Here you're seeing me do an awful job at creating a good composition and a good background. God, I don't know. These 1 hour animes are really fun and great for practice, but they are not great at showcasing my skills as an animator. Not that I'm like so skilled that it's unbelievable, but I'm not making pretty animations. I'm making quick animations, and there's definitely a difference. I just want people to know that this isn't the quality of animation that I typically want. It's definitely the quality of animation that I end up finishing for most of my projects, but I can do more, and I have done more in the past, and I think I might put out some of my like slightly unfinished work just so you get a concept of what my short films look like. But this is not it. just so you know, not mostly, but kind of. This is done in an hour. It's a difficult thing to do, so I'm being very bad with my drawings just so I can get them done. If I had more than an hour, I would just be using these as like an animatic thing for posing, and then draw over it with the actual character design and the volumes and the shapes and make a better thing. But I think for the purpose of very quick and comedic animatics or animations, this kind of ugly style is perfectly fine and acceptable, so I don't mind it too much. I'm just saying I don't want you to think that I'm like awful. I can draw kind of. Hopefully you can tell by today's warm-up, because the other warm-up was just really weird. I don't know what I was drawing. I didn't know what to draw. Like I said, I hadn't drawn for forever, and so I was just kind of doing whatever I wanted. And today I think I actually drew something that was kind of like decent within the 5 minutes I gave myself. All right, let's talk about the animation itself, because I have not done that yet. So here I'm using the scenes feature in TV Paint to break up stuff. I'm also going to use it later to duplicate scenes entirely so that I can reuse them easily without interfering with other frames in the the timeline. So yeah, here I'm just giving the baby a really dumb slow blink because I think it's funny as we close up on them. And I will be trying to do like a camera whip. I don't think I've ever done that before. and I if I were to do it again, the one thing I would have done differently is added some kind of ground plane for the baby, because I'm whipping the camera up and staring at the ceiling fan. But the problem with that is that when I whip it up, I add a smear frame. That's not the problem. The problem is that I'm also having, in this same scene, the ceiling fan fall, and it also has a smear frame, but to represent it falling in space. But here I'm using it to represent that the change in space, that the camera is panning, and so there is a change in space, and instead of it falling in a space. So the smears, I'm using two types of smears in the same scene, and I'm not sure if it's entirely readable. And I think a quick fix for that is to have a ground plane. And I just didn't do it, and I didn't think about it when I was going back and fixing and adding in betweens. So I humbly apologize if it's not readable. There is a ton of points in this animation where it is not entirely readable, and part of that is because I'm just drawing on top of each other, and you'll see drawings behind drawings, whereas I would have really liked it if the things on top just completely obscured things at the back, as they do. But I didn't have time for that, and I didn't think about it at the end. Like I said, even if I did think about it, I generally didn't have time. Here, a good thing would have been to draw like a motion path and tick off the timing, the spacing, sorry, for the ceiling fan falling. But I think it looks fine. I think even if I were to add the motion path, I think I would have probably done something like this. You're seeing me use my smear frames. I like to add like smear lines and duplicates in my smear frames. It's how you'll see me always do it. I'm not sure if this is good. I think they usually always read well, but you guys can be the judge of that. Please comment, because like I said, I want to learn. This whole thing is an opportunity for me to learn, and if you guys have any insight into my work, please feel free to say something. So here we're reaching the end. I'm also experimenting with the video format itself. Maybe you'll hear it in the back, maybe you won't. I might add music to this just to make it, I don't know, more interesting, instead of just me talking. I'm not sure how interesting that is on its own. And I'm also experimenting with the time. The last video was 20 minutes. This one, I think it's gonna be around 15. And I just want people to just be able to watch the full thing. The only problem I'm now having is that I feel like I don't have enough time to talk about everything on screen, and that is kind of an issue. But if you guys are watching, then I'll just make sure that I kind of go in and make sure I'm talking about the best parts of the video. For instance, this is probably a good point to talk about. I'm doing two things in this scene. I'm trying to represent the mom going from looking down at her book to looking directly at the screen and adding like an intensity, like an intense moment. To make sure that you can tell that she's looking down and then moving up, I have her chin narrowed and her eyes lowered, and then when she's looking directly at the camera, her chin is spread out and her eyes are directly forward and not squashed in any kind of way. And I feel like that helped it read, and obviously I ended up adding an in-between frame. I should have just came back to it, but whatever. It's supposed to be there, so it's fine. And then right now you'll see me, I'm adding an impact frame. Normally, as the name suggests, the impact frame is useful for when you're making an intense contact, otherwise known as an impact. But here I'm using it to use it for the intensity of the framing. I think it adds almost like just like a creepy vibe, like I don't know. I think it's really odd looking, and I like it. And I think she makes her look almost unhinged. whereas I just kind of wanted her to look like really concerned. I mean, her baby's about to die if she doesn't do anything, so she has to act, and that's just kind of the moment where the adrenaline hits her. So I think that reads well. Hopefully when you watch it, you'll see it. But yeah, there's also here what I'm doing is I'm kind of playing with time a little bit. The ceiling has been falling. The ceiling fan has been falling for like a little bit now. I'm trying to have continuity in between frames. I mean, scenes where you're seeing a cut. Yeah, the ceiling fan was falling when on that scene of the close-up of the baby, and then when you do the wide shot, it's no longer attached to the ceiling anymore, and it's already in the process of falling, which is good. I think it would have been awful if I just started from the top and then did it falling again, because clearly we just watched it snap off. Why would we watch it snap off again? I did mess with time in the close-up to the mom's face, because I kept the ceiling fan exactly where it was, because if I moved it any bit, it would have been way too close to the baby and she wouldn't have time to get to it. So yeah, I mess with time there. I think it's perfectly fine. I don't really care. I even added 3 frames in the beginning of this just so that you can linger on it for just a tiny bit as the scene changes. But yeah, I think I'm good enough at making sure that things are readable in terms of the animation. It isn't necessarily readable in this moment just because I failed to do that thing I said earlier where like overlapping drawings are kind of showing through each other, and I don't think that's the best look. If I had more time, I would have just gone in and added at least a white color to the elements that are in front, just so that it looks like it's in front of things and nothing that's behind it is showing. Should only ever happen in class, or things that are literally see-through. So that's unfortunate, but if I ever do this again, I'll make sure that I give myself time to do that. But we have actually finished. I don't necessarily finish exactly on time. I go a little bit past, I think maybe 5 to 10 minutes past what I was supposed to do. But that's okay. Like I said, the timer wasn't really working properly, so I just stopped caring. And I just like that I finished it. So if you want to trash me in the comments that I didn't actually do a 1 hour animation, go ahead. But I'm just happy and proud of myself for doing this at all. It is way too hot to be sitting here on my hot computer spewing fan heat from inside. It's awful. But I did it, okay? So I'm proud of myself. And if you did any amount of art or drawing, you should be proud of yourself too. So give yourself a pat on the back. Oh god, sound like a child's TV show. Anyways, that's the entire animation. I'm just rendering it out now, but I'm just gonna shut up and let you watch it. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoy it. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully over time these get better, because I'm not necessarily so proud of this, but again, I am proud that I finished it. I think this was slightly more complex than the last, and it was like around 11 seconds or something, so I think the last one was 10, so there's definitely something happening, but I don't know. I'm just happy I'm doing these, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. See you next time.